Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. A big holiday welcome. We are so happy to have you here on USA Global TV and Radio. We provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and it is an absolute pleasure to have you here with us for our show, Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic AMINAH. Our topic today is everything you need to know about giving pets as holiday gifts. Seems like such a great idea, right? Oh, Billy wants to have a dog and Susie wants to have a cat and Joey wants to have a iguana. It's another show. Anyway, you have to think about a number of things before just going and purchasing a pet. It's a lifetime commitment. Who knows all about this? Our expert, the star of our show, joining us from California. It's Pet Psychic AMINAH. Hello.
Hello, hello. We're just the drier version of you guys. We don't have all that wonderful tropical weather, but
we're dry here as well. Actually, we've had some rain, but I'm looking out and skies are somewhat cloudy, but clear, no rain.
Well, it's pulling from good water, hopefully. Hopefully it's good water because that's what we all need. How has your week been? Your shows are amazing. If anybody has not been keeping up, I do it when I'm walking. I do it when I'm just, getting out. The talent is amazing. So please pass on my well wishes for the rest of the team. It's just so much fun, even to get 15 minutes, a half hour, or the whole show.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. And you know what? I love that you just said this. You have no idea what I'm about to show, Nope. But we actually are going to be celebrating our second anniversary, and we have our reunion and award show, which somebody on this screen right now who's not me is going to be recognized. I wonder who that could be. So It's very exciting. January 14th, again, our reunion and award show. It's our second anniversary. So look for more information about that. So AMINAH, I've heard this for years. People are sitting around, they're talking about what to get for gifts for their kids. And sometimes people just give in because their child wants to have a pet and they will not stop talking about having a pet. And way back in the day, you and I are around the same age, I think, but way back in the day, people would go to a pet store and they would have little pets running around. I don't even know if they have pet stores anymore. We talk a lot about rescues and whatnot, but what are some things that people need to know? Let's take it from the very beginning. You're having a conversation with your child and they happen to mention that for this holiday, they want a pet. How do you respond?
I would say the first thing to do is if you're married or have a partner and you're married in thought and heart, or you have adult children and you have one younger one, it's usually asking for this, not always, but whoever is running the household, basically you're paying all the bills, you're getting them to school, all of those important things, you feed them, once and twice a day and that type of stuff. It is truly an animal in a family is going to be lovely and educational. And I'm absolutely all for people to have pets especially when they're young and can be taught and molded into compassion is where I'm heading. But if you're a single parent and or parents that work outside and or work 600 million hours a week or day, and when you come home, you want to see the kids and you want to spend time, adding another, literally a mouth to feed, somebody who doesn't know how to go to the bathroom and the toilet, on a regular basis, ever. And you already went through that with your own kids. So if your children are under the age, this is just a guesstimation. This is not written in stone anywhere. My life experience, having my own children and introducing animals to them, my parents doing it same for me. My parents did not want pets. They knew my mom was way too busy. It wasn't something she wanted. But we adopted quite a few strays. You need to be prepared for child number 3, 4, 12, whatever, that doesn't speak English ever, but will learn your body language if you pay attention. If you are up for that and it's something that really meets something in the heart of your family, please do so. But please adopt from shelters only, because those animals are literally living their life, hopefully a long one. But all shelters cannot keep all pets. They can't feed them. They can't house them. They can't do right by them. I can't tell you how many litters during kitten season and puppy season and what other animal season you find. And half of those animals die, either by euthanasia, means chemically, some vet tech somewhere had to put them down because we couldn't feed them. So many people get the idea that, oh, I can't handle this, I can't handle this. It's a cat, it can go outside and live. Dr. Jacalyn, you know the answer to this, but let's pretend you don't, even if you forget, so that's great. It's more authentic. What happens and why am I so opposed to you just let the cat, let the lizard, let the snake, whatever you adopted, the groundhog, I don't know how you'd get one of those, why would you want one? But any pet you would come across and adopt. And then you got tired and you just opened the front door and said, have fun, have a good life, don't come back. Why am I absolutely opposed to this?
Because they don't have the skills and the conditioning to live in the wild. They've been
exactly.
fed,
and what do they do when they learn to hunt?
When they learn to hunt, they're going to bring back treats.
They will if they have any connection with the family still. But in the meantime, think of a 4-block neighborhood or whatever, 10 blocks, who cares? And half of those people, you got 10 houses, you got half those people with pets, dogs, cats, whatever, birds, whatever. And they let the bird fly and the bird comes back. All of them are carnivores. All of them eat meat. So if you have only 2 or 3 cats running loose in a neighborhood, and we are always dealing with global warming every single day of our lives, now you're going to decimate the bird population because your cat is out there running loose. Domesticated pets should be domesticated and in home. First of all, you'll have a very much shorter vet bill. I promise you, if your animal is not running around getting stickers or spiked or God forbid, I've heard of this. I've actually met somebody who did it, and they get BB guns out and their kids start shooting the neighborhood animals. And they're doing it for fun. So that's a parent talk that we're going to have with parents. Don't get a pet for your child of any age that you are not crystal clear that you are going to have up to 50 to 100% responsibility for that animal. I want people to go into understanding it is a family decision, but it's really always the parent's decision. When the money gets slow, let's say you let your teenage child have a pet on the condition they buy all their food because they're got a paper route, or like my sisters and I, we babysat like everybody was thrilled that my mom had 4 daughters because they just kept going down. As one of us would go to college, then they'd go to the next daughter. So if you have this kind of thing and they can get a place to mow people's lawns or babysit or whatever kind of side hustle to pay for their pet, great responsibility. Because when we're paying the bill, for example, Dr. Jacalyn and I pay the PG&E bill, and that's electric, gas, heating, whatever your company is. PG&E is we have in California, and or the water bill, and or the grocery bill. Animals need, if you have an indoor cat, you need a lot of litter, a lot. Especially if you're like me, I'm cleaning the cat box at least every day, if not a couple times a day, because I don't want my cats walking in dried pee and or wet, but whatever, all over our house. We don't even wear shoes in our house. Why would I want my cat to do that? Think it through. Talk to people who have had pet. If possible, I hope that you know that there's one great way you can try it out. Dr. Jacalyn, here's your game. Name that tune. No, it's not that one. What do you think would be the one thing that you could test drive a pet?
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. I've seen people actually give their children, the young children, a doll, and you're responsible for taking care of that doll. You have to change the doll, you have to feed the doll, and if you can't take care of the doll, then you're not getting the pet, or some other fish or a plant.
Yep, and you I'm so glad you expanded on it. So when they're really little, it's like, oh, did you change, Jesse's diaper today? Especially if you get one of those babies that actually pretend to eat and pretend to diaper. What I love is that you went straight into the pet. So it's so easy. When we go to the fair, and there's tons of fairs still going on all over, at least the United States, and I don't know if you remember, Dr. They had the bowl with a goldfish in it, and you threw like a ping pong ball and tried to get one of the goldfish. And then we all took it home and went, oh, wait a minute, I don't have a bowl, I don't have food, I don't have any way to keep this goldfish. And those are pretty basic. But these are great ways to go and get a fish that doesn't need a special tank, doesn't need a different oxygen and rocks and everything, and get a pet appropriate for the child in front of you. Are they really diligent about the details? Are you willing to check in and make sure the animals are fed? Are you going to help them clean the tank? Because that's a really big responsibility. This is all about keeping your pets alive, not just saying, oh, we'll just flush them down the toilet. I mean, we've all heard of that, or done it with a goldfish or any fish that has died. There are all kinds of fancy schmancy pets out there now. Everything. It has new colors or new size or less dander or whatever you need. Please think about finding a shelter near you that you and your children, or just the one that's interested, but I would really recommend the whole family go. If you have more than husband, wife, and one kid, it really is going to affect everybody, having a pet or not having a pet. And go to the shelters, see how many animals that somebody thought was a really good idea to adopt, and then found out they couldn't. Whatever that is. They lost a job, can't afford it, the animal doesn't click with them, it's not what I thought, on and on and on and on. Go to the shelters and have your children begin to understand. And you can do this with a 5-year-old, just less language, and say, isn't it really sad that their mommy and daddy couldn't keep them? And pets don't keep their litters or their puppies or their kitties forever. They expect them to go on. If we continue to just let pets go free and they can fend for themselves, we will have no birds. We will have no ground squirrels. We will have no whatever they're after. And a balance in the planet is about everybody coexisting.
Excellent points as always. I love it. But something popped into my mind, and I don't know what the age is on this, if it's 18 but what about taking your child, you go with them and you go for a few hours, once a week, once a month, whatever it is, to volunteer in an animal rescue or someplace like that, where the child actually can see something that they might not have experienced before, that might give them more insight about how you have to take care of animals.
And that's a perfect example. Absolutely. What you have to find is that right center. Whatever you're looking for. and this is just a cautionary, there's no blanket. I'm not out there making a survey. Many shelters that are supported by the city that they live in, or the county, or some other government, it should be just the city or the county, that is subsidizing that rent and the food and the staff and the benefits they get, so they get quality people. They are going to typically, not always, going to have stricter laws, rules, and guidelines on who can volunteer, what age they can volunteer, how they can interact, how do people who are looking for pets can interact. Because if you can imagine, if one of the city, county, whatever organizations has the responsibility for this, just wait till you find the one person that makes sure they get bit by a dog so they can file a lawsuit against the city, county, whatever. So I'm sorry, those people exist. They still exist. They will always exist, sadly. And nobody can see and read their face and say, even I don't have those gifts. I can tell when somebody's energy changes and they go from maybe nice, but they could be afraid of animals. And I'm not there for every single person who's going to go on a tour and say, well, yeah, no, I don't. And it's like, well, why not? Because you feel funny. I don't think that's a legitimate diagnosis. But people who run these facilities, that's how they get really harsh about, no more children. Can't do any more children. They've pulled enough toes. I just can't deal with it. And that's really a sad place to be, but it's logical. In the end, is that director or whoever's making that decision, guess what? It's trying to save their business of saving animals over the whim of that family and having their child come visit. So I don't want to be harsh, but I want to be clear, literally, really, really clear that the safety of these animals, obviously somebody didn't spay or neuter. Why are our shelters all full? Constantly. The job, this one business is dying to go out of business. And
well, I think also to your point, I think in addition to spay and neuter, it's situations like this where an adult will give an animal as a gift for a holiday, and then the child doesn't want to take care of it. And then the parent doesn't want to take care of it. Maybe the older children don't. And then they end up saying, okay, well, this was a bad decision. We'll just drop it off in the woods, or we'll take it to a shelter. We'll just leave the door open. And then that's how these things happen.
Exactly. And I'm so glad you went that step by step. That's exactly how they go. It doesn't matter what animal you get. It could be a cricket that you picked up outside, which don't do because crickets are up for doing work out there. Or it's I saw this cute little puppy, or our friends brought it to our luncheon and was looking for a home and I just couldn't turn it away. That's good for the first 3 days, maybe. I think 3 days, 72 hours, and then everybody's tired. There's too much poop. There's too much diarrhea. There's too much this, because your animal can be horribly stressed by this. Diarrhea is brought up on millions and types of reasons. Are you going to pay for the vet with an animal you just acquired 3 days ago? Yeah, you should, because that's the contract you signed with not even realizing that you signed it. But that's what you should have done. In your mind, you should say, okay, this is what it is. This is how we're going to do it. That's why fostering, and or even better yet, go and volunteer at a shelter. They always can use help. They can always use somebody who's willing to clean cages. And guess what you get to do before, after, middle of cleaning cages? You get to touch all the kitties and all the doggies and whatever their protocol is when they know you're safe. And you've probably got a staff person working side by side with you, and you build that rapport. For your children, it gives them amazing skills. They will carry with them for the rest of their life on being on time, working with others, how to disagree and agree, and how to talk to somebody when you disagree with something. there is so much growth there. So much growth there. It's not just about the animal. It is giving your children responsibility at the age that they're ready for it, and or a little bit more, so they have a growth to make. And so many shelters are really, really desperately needing, they want these pets to have time with people that will sit with them and pet them and feed them and clear and clean out their shelter. It is all very important. And you just need to find the right place that works for the age range that they are capable of supporting. If their age range is 11 and up, great. If there is here and here, maybe they have a mommy and me class. I don't know. I know they had it in swimming, but those were for babies. 5 and up, maybe your 5-year-old's really mature. Well, it's not going to matter because they have to put a black and white date, time, serial number, whatever, and that's the birthday. Of knowing they don't know your child, and you can sell them all you want. Oh, they're very mature, they're very mature, they're very mature. And children, all of us, I don't know about you, even I, we have our meltdown days. And it's like, yeah, I get to be 2 again right now. I'm just gonna let it loose, and then I feel better. But when you're working with live people, animals, whatever, lives, whatever form they come in, the respect, the education, the patience, and it's such a good start, I would personally say, with people having more compassion in their life if they can work with animals when they're younger. I've seen it, I've lived it, and I did it with my own children. I had them around a lot of animals.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I'd like to go into the decision's been made and the family's going to acquire a pet. And you've already talked about going to shelters and whatnot. What are some of the next steps? You're going to pick up this beautiful new addition to the family. What do you need to bring with you? What do you need to know? Should you all go to pick up the animal?
So the animal's already been chosen.
Yes, the animal's already been chosen.
Okay. So if you have already vetted your animal, and just really quickly, that means you've met them, you've spent more than 30 minutes with them in usually they have a visiting room, and then your family has come to meet this animal, and you're ready to take them home. You need to talk to, of course, the adoption center, find out what they've been fed and where to buy it. Changing food is not a good thing for most animals. Dogs like to eat everything. Cats once in a while will too. You drop it on the floor, and it's usually gone, especially if it's of the meat kind. Cats, if you don't know, everybody out there, cats typically are considered carnivores, strictly. And dogs eat everything, literally everything. We've had vet visits with socks and toys, whatever, squeaky toys. So you have to be a lot more diligent about what age your children are, what toys they're around, and you can always run a dry run and say, okay, we're going to take this stuffed animal, and you're going to pretend that you are going around, and this is the dog, and they get up at a certain time and they go to sleep at a certain time. So it's really fun to do it that way and make it a joy, because the real work is not as fun as that. So Dr. Jacalyn, I know I probably got off on a tangent again. Ask me your question again.
Yeah, so the family's going to pick up the pet. Should they bring the child with them to pick up the pet? What do they need to bring? They have to bring a carrier. What do they need to bring with them?
If you're going for a small animal, dog or cat, squirrel, that would be weird if they put a squirrel out there for you. But any of the smaller animals have a carrier. Find out from the shelter, because the parents should have already put out the paperwork. The parents will probably have, because they'll vet them and make sure they don't have any abuse in their past. Believe it or not, people re-adopt even though police come and the shelters come and take their animals away. So depending on the laws and rules in your area, I hope they're flagging you and you never get another animal again. And the judge usually puts that in records, but you have to go look at it. You have to go look for that. So this is the due diligence of the center that has these animals. Their budgets are mighty small. So everybody's doing as much as they can to do this type of work. So yes, they're going to ask you how many children you have in the house. Do you have any elderly, handicapped people? How young is your youngest? All of these questions should be asked ahead of time. A lot of times they will have you submit an application. You put all that information down. Where do you work? How long are you gone out of the house? Where will this animal live? Does it have a backyard? Does it have grass? They're going to ask these types of questions. Then they will approve or not approve your application. So let's say they've approved. They give you a date and time. You've probably, at this point, picked an animal. But there's lots of people that will put an application, so the shelter will call them when they're looking for a 40-pound schnauzer that has a blue coat, whatever they're looking for. And if you can say, we just want a kitty, but we want it around this age. We want a dog, but he can only be this tall. These types of things are really important to a lot of families on their perception or what animals they've already had. And that's really great. If the parents have already had pets and it was successful and they see the growth that it can give children, it really can. You'll teach compassion in a whole different way. You'll teach that conversations don't have to be in any language, because it's all language. And I am so blessed to not only understand the body language, but I also get to hear what animals are saying. And I have for my whole life. I just didn't tell anybody out loud. I would always, when I was a little kid, I'd always say, well, he just said, don't do that. Why are you doing that? And everybody looked at me like, well, that's weird. And I was thinking, I don't know, but it really looks like I want to be weird. But with my own children, I've always been straightforward and said, no, Thomas just said, I don't want to be picked up anymore. So just leave him on the ground. You will get better and better at your observation of what is going on and preempt, God forbid, an animal that gets so frustrated because you have a child that's too young and keeps pulling their hair. Can you imagine a young, 12, 15, 2-year-old, 4-year-old who's learning to walk and uses the dog to stand up and pull the fur? At some point, the dog might get too sore and it hurts, or it's uncomfortable, or they adapt and say, oh, okay, this is what we do. You don't know what you're getting and what it's going to be like in your home. So be prepared. Foster animals. Have them around your children. What's the best thing to do is, if you're learning a new language, you don't go to Spain, learn the language while you're on the ground, because you really probably muck it up. I know I would. Maybe learn a little bit before you leave. And the same thing with animals. Same thing with you're getting to know a new friend or a coworker, or goodness sakes, a new spouse. Wouldn't you want to know where they were born and what they do for a living and how come they're passionate about that? Have that same courtesy. Have that same connection with your pets. And I promise you, if there's ever a fire, a flood, or you have a heart attack, that animal is going to be there for you. And there you might be, if you're all home alone, they might be the one that saves your life, because they'll go find somebody. Because your connection is real with compassion, love, and fun.
Outstanding. Excellent points. Thank you so much. What happens now? We bring our little loved one home, our little furry friend, ball of energy, and it's just not working out too well, unfortunately. Do we call a trainer?
If you are committed to, and this is where the soul searching, you always check in with yourself. Let's be real. Let's be real. If you are saying, I didn't realize it would be this much work, and you can't get past that fence, or this personality is not working with me and you can't get past that, what I'd like you to do is first get a hold of a trainer. See if it can be salvaged. See if I know for me, I went through it with one of ours, and I was like, oh my gosh, this dog was just killing me. And it took us 12 months. But are you in it for the long haul? Or is this just a great fuzzy distraction for your kids, which they, and a lot of parents do that. Get a pet and say, oh, everybody's going to be loving this and take care of it. And you kept telling them they're going to take care of it, and you're taking care of it. So depending on the age of your children, be prepared that everyone in the family should have some kind of responsibility, like, oh, I see there's food missing. Let's make sure they're fed. That's not true everywhere. When I adopted a German Shepherd that had been dumped in the yard with a 6-foot plus sinkhole from a septic tank that had been removed, and he'd been dumped there, and the house was up for sale. It took me a year to get him step by step by step, because my children were the same height as this German Shepherd, and he was a tad on the short side for Shepherd. But did we put in the time? The way I look at it, and the way I looked at it then, is this was a beautiful, wonderful time to teach my small children. They were literally 3 and 4 years old. So I had them hold on to my shirt or my pants or whatever while we're walking him. And Jake, what's his name that we gave him, learned to be really gentle around them. So they didn't trip or fall or skip or whatever. He could not do anything physically to touch them. So he would just run around and jump up and down all around them. And it turned into like the best ring around the rosy chant with this German Shepherd. And he wasn't huge. He was the right size he was supposed to be. He was under 60 pounds. A lot of people love the bully breeds and or the guard breeds, and they're over 100 pounds. That's really hard on their joints, especially Shepherds. They have a little slant. So you need to know what you're getting into. And you need to know enough about your kids to maybe go visit people who have dogs or cats or whatever. A lot of people don't realize rats are amazing. They're great first pets because they're highly intelligent. They like to interact. They really can learn games and toys and things, and they're small. You don't have to get a mouse, which is made to be too small for your child. But rats are amazing, and they don't live terribly long like a dog or a cat. So remember, you can start with a goldfish, see how that goes, and if they feed them every day, and maybe you're washing if they're too small, there are lots and lots of ways. First and foremost, I would absolutely advocate, if you're thinking about getting a pet, go visit the people you know that have pets, that hopefully you have a friendship with, and they can really talk you through how it worked, how every dog, every cat, every human being comes at a problem, at a challenge, and with pets or without pets. We all look at the world a little bit differently. Our perspective is just a little different. It doesn't matter how many people in the family you have or any of that. My sisters and I are worlds apart in our likes, dislikes, and things. And then we have a whole bunch of stuff in common. Everybody's an individual. So remember, your animals are going to be so, but they will adapt to kindness, not corporal punishment. There's tons of disciplinary modalities, and that could be a whole nother show. But right now, if you're thinking about getting a pet, wonderful. Please go to the shelters. They are always full. Or they'll put you on a waiting list if you're looking for a specific breed. Try to be open-minded to get any breed, because a good companion doesn't have a pedigree behind it necessary. It is the relationship that you have between you and them. I don't know about you, Dr. Jacalyn, but I have had friends, best friends, distant friends, buddies over wherever, and we are night and day different people. And that was the fun part. They would talk about something I didn't have expertise in, and I'd do the same. It was a lot of fun. And if you open your heart and your mind to the fact that your animals can teach you things, and you guys can work through the difficult stuff in love. You know, one more potty on the carpet problem. I know that just drives me crazy. You get to make those decisions. But corporal punishment is never, ever a great way to go for, I don't care, your kids or your animals. It's still high. It still feels abusive, whichever way you're going to go. And you might get to the point where you just have to pick up the spanky stick. Just don't use it. And that could be the deterrent, whatever it is. But when you teach great things, I would put a little bit of peanut butter on a spoon or on my finger. The finger was messy, so I'd put it on my spoon. Now, I didn't give that peanut butter to anybody else, just so everybody knows. Peanut butter did not go in the kids' sandwiches also. But it's an easy, fat, yummy thing, and it gets your pet to look at you and go, "Ooh, you got that stuff? Oh, you got that stuff." So they associate good yummies, good petting, a great grooming, whatever makes them all happy. You scrub their little back of their back with your nails. That's enough, thank you. Just time with you, to learn to sit when you ask, to learn to potty in one place. I did that with our shepherd. When we moved into our new house, I put in all new lawn because it was a disaster. But I left one strip, literally like 6 feet by 3.5 feet wide. I'd planned it to be a sand trap box for my kids, but the dog, we ended up using that, and that was great. One place, and the sand, and I clean it all down. It really can be easy as long as you keep your mind open. But finding the right pet sometimes is a little more work than people realize.
And I'd like to just add to that, we can discuss this on a future episode, but when you're in a space, for example, when my mom passed away, I had several people reach out and say, "Oh, I guess you'll be getting a dog now." No, I am not going to be getting a dog because my mother passed away. But people do that. They lose something and then they immediately need something else. And I think we have to look at, why are we doing that? Or if we have a feeling of sadness or something going on inside of us, we have to address that. Something else isn't going to fill that void. But people do that. They will go out and get a pet, not realizing that the way they're feeling is a temporary feeling. It might last for years, but a pet, it could be there for 20 plus years. And now you're not feeling as badly as you were about something, but now you have this responsibility and you might feel an anger towards it, or you might feel resentful. So I know for me, I said, no, I'm not getting any pets. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to deal with my grief and feel it, and then make some decisions. You don't make major decisions when you're going through a hard time.
Well, and on the end of that sentence, I'll add, unless you want to make a bad one.
Yeah, good. That's
and
good.
You're absolutely right. It's tragedies happen, difficulties happen. I am all for people having support animals for whatever reason, for however, but you owe the animal to come in genuinely, with time, with availability, with the finance ability for medical and food. This is not, so many people get cats, for example, because they can just walk away. And it's like, well, they do need attention. If you have them in the house, then you do need to clean up the litter, not let them just go on top, because I had a client like that, and the box was just brimming with poop. Oh, I'll get to it. Which month? Because that just needs to be thrown away. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy for you either. Anybody out there, an animal, yes, is healing. People can be healing. Gardening can be healing. Whatever your modality is, I honor that. But realize when you're adopting a life, it is a life. And you're taking on the responsibility to creating a good life. And in turn, hopefully you will also grow as a human being and a compassionate person who's able, at whatever growth you are, when you have a death in your life, give yourself time. Go to the shelters and volunteer. You don't have to take any of them home. but maybe they went through something sad like that too. Maybe that's why they're in the shelter, because their family died or moved away and couldn't afford to take them, or whatever. If you have enough love and compassion, please share it. Please share it.
I love it. Please share it. Let's all kumbaya, come together.
Absolutely.
I love this mindset. It's a beautiful way to just take it all in. Let's be responsible and accountable for the decisions that we make. Let's not involve other lives that are depending on us. So, Pet Psychic AMINAH, thank you so much for another fabulous episode. And again, I really appreciate you. I can always rely on you. You're very dependable, very professional. We've been together for, even though we'll be celebrating 2 years in January, we actually, before we officially became a company, we were streaming as Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. And for 2 years, we've been USA Global TV and radio, and you've been there since the beginning. So thank you for continuously showing up at the highest level. You will be recognized in January.
Thank you.
Secret. Okay. All right.
I know nothing. Trapdoor memory. It's all gone. The cat's gonna walk by in 5 seconds. Go, yeah, you're looking at me. And I was like, yep. And you're sorry. You've been superseded by the cutest 3 cats that I absolutely could ever. And again, we never planted up 3, but somebody couldn't handle one, and somebody adopted, and they couldn't handle that one, and 12 months later, we're like, okay, this is new.
Our family now. This
well, and some of you might know, I haven't mentioned this in a long time. My youngest daughter is in Spain, and she went on a tour because she has a master's degree. She's a clinical therapist, and so she was opening her own practice, and she wanted to do a big, tour. And she and I traveled for years together. So this one, she was on her own, and she got stuck in Spain when the pandemic hit. And now she's married and loving there, and got another cat. And we had one of her cats we were babysitting. Now we own them. So, because that was what, 2 years ago. You don't know where your life will take you. So live it well every day. Be kind, even when others cannot be kind to you. It will really help the world go around better.
So important. Absolutely. We're talking about that earlier on a show today. Just be kind because you can. Doesn't matter the feedback that you're getting. Just show up at the highest level, as you always do, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We have
your Fridays. Love my Fridays.
Yeah, I love Fridays too. We have your contact information here, and in the future, we'll be bringing on some of your audiences from Facebook and LinkedIn. So we say hello. They're not here today, but they can be in the future. How can people reach out to you, and what are the value and services you can provide to our audience?
Well, just like this show is the perfect example, thank you so much. I can share this out. Is I'm not just a pet psychic. I'm not just a trainer. I'm not lots of things. But what I'm trying to help everybody is where I find you and where you find me. Can I answer everything? No, nobody can answer everything. But I can definitely try with creative choices. I really want to find out what really fits in your life and what doesn't, and we look outside that box. It's always wonderful working with people who actually want to do better. And those are the people that are my clients. And that's why I give so many free things like this out to everybody. And give me a call. No, don't give me a call, because I don't post my phone number. You can imagine how many calls I'd be stuck on. Bridging Worlds with an S.us. Everything about me, all my links, all my social media, these videos, all of this is in one place. Again, BRIDGINGWORLDS.us. There's all my resume.
Sounds like it should be a song.
That's up to you guys.
Don't worry, Disney, we're not coming for you. It's okay.
Exactly.
Well, I wish you a beautiful rest of your day. And everyone, if you are in your evening or it's your morning, wherever you are in the world, please go with peace. And we look forward to seeing you again next Friday when we'll have a new topic. So thanks again for being here. Thank you, Pet Psychic AMINAH, and blessings to everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.